All right, here we go. Question 29 from our Precalculus, homework number 11 in MyLab Math. They want us to find the center, transverse axis, vertices, foci, and asymptotes, and the graph given the equation of a hyperbola. Notice that this equation is not in standard form. So what we're going to do is copy this over to our scratch work. We're going to convert to standard form, and we're going to start by finding the center first. Alright, so over here in our scratch work, the first thing we need to do in order to convert to standard form is we need to group our x's and y's together, paying careful attention to put whichever squared variable is positive first. So we're going to start with x squared minus 10x plus a blank. We're going to need to complete the square for the x's, and then it says minus, and then we're going to group our y's together. Notice that I am going to factor out the minus. So that's going to give us y squared plus 14y plus another blank to complete the square. Our minus 49 is going to move over to become a positive 49. And whatever we add to one side, we're going to have to add to the other. So we're going to add two blanks on the other side. And now to complete the square. Taking half of negative 10 is negative 5. That number squared is 25. And then taking half of 14 is 7. 7 squared is 49. Now, to account for what I added, I did add a plus 25. So I need to add a 25 to this side. Now look, it may look like I added 49, but remember the negative that I factored out will also apply to that. So really, instead of adding 49, I subtracted 49, which means that I'm going to need to subtract 49 from this side. And now factoring. We have a perfect square trinomial. That's going to give us x minus the square root of 25 is 5 squared minus y plus square root of 49 is 7 squared equals. Now over here we've got 49 minus 49. Those cancel, leaving us 25. And the next step to get to standard form is we need to divide everybody by 25 because this number over here needs to be 1. So dividing by 25, that's going to give us x minus 5 quantity squared over 25 minus y plus 7 quantity squared over 25 equal to 1. Now from here, remember I said we're going to find the center first. And the center is the ordered pair h comma k, where h is the number attached to the x, k is the number attached to the y, and those are always opposite what you see. So that'll be a plus 5 and a minus 7 for our center. Okay, so inputting this using our ordered pair tool, we have positive 5, negative 7. Next, it wants the transverse axis. Is it parallel to the x or y axis? So according to our chart, if the x squared is positive in the first fraction, it is a horizontal transverse axis, which would run parallel to the x-axis. So that's going to give us a transverse axis parallel to the x-axis. Next, the vertices are, well, the vertices formulas in this case are h plus or minus a comma k. We know that a squared is always the first denominator for a hyperbola. Taking the square root gives us a is 5. Remember, we also know h and k already. So doing a little plug and play, that's going to give us 5 plus or minus 5 comma, negative 7. And then to simplify that into the two ordered pairs, 5 minus 5, that would be 0, negative 7. 5 plus 5, that would be 10, negative 7. So there's our vertices. And inputting those using our ordered pair tool, 0, negative 7. Don't forget your comma to separate the ordered pairs. 10, negative 7. Next, the foci are. Well, the foci formula are h plus or minus c, comma k. I don't know the value of c yet, but I do know the value of b squared and a squared, so I can get c using our Pythagorean identity. C squared equals a squared plus b squared, which would be 25 plus 25, which is 50, and then taking the square root of both sides would give us a c value of 5 square root of 2. And if you're not sure how I got that, I did the square root of 50 on my calculator. The Casio gives the simplest radical form answer, which we need. And so here we go. H is 5 plus or minus 5 square root of 2, comma k, which is negative 7. And these are our foci. And then I'm going to attempt to input these as a single ordered pair using the plus or minus tool. 5 plus or minus 5 square root of 2, comma, negative 7. And it did accept it. Yay. Next, the asymptote with positive slope is. And the asymptote with negative slope is. So we're actually going to have to input the equation of each asymptote separately. So coming back up here to our formula sheet, knowing that we have a horizontal transverse axis, we need to copy and paste these asymptote formulas into our scratch work and plug and play. So with the formula copied down, we're going to have y equals k. And if we scroll back up, remember that k was negative 7. So that's going to be negative 7 plus or minus b over a. Now a squared and b squared were identical. So taking the square root of 25 is going to give us a 5. And that's going to give us 5 over 5. X minus h. And if we scroll back up, we can see that h was 5. So plugging that in there, x minus 5, and simplifying. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times anything is itself. So that's going to distribute, and I'm going to move this negative 7 all the way to the back, okay? So we had 5 over 5 is 1. Don't forget your plus or minus here, so we're going to distribute the plus 1 first. 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5 minus 7. And then the other equation would be y equals, and now we're going to do the negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times negative 5 is 5. And don't forget the minus 7, giving us y equals x minus 12. And y equals negative x minus 2. Those would be our two separate asymptotes. And we do need to type the whole equation this time. So the y equals, this is the one with positive slope, that was x minus 12. And the asymptote with negative slope, y equals negative x minus 2. And finally, to determine the graph of the hyperbola, two of these answer choices have a horizontal transverse axis. That would be A and B. C and D have a vertical transverse axis, and so they're immediately rejected. Now, what I notice about these two graphs that are left, A and B, is their center is in a different location. And we know that our x-coordinate of the center was 5. That leads us to conclude that answer choice A must be correct because the center is closer to 5 than it is for answer choice B. And that's going to do it for this particular problem. So if you have any questions or comments about anything covered in this video, please feel free to leave those in the comment section below, or you can text me, and thanks for watching.